Hello everyone, it's Infinity Gamer here, and I am surrounded by some of the best stuff I think Corvus Belli has released in a little while. I'm not talking down on anything that's come before, but some of this stuff is just brilliant. I don't know really where to begin because all of this has attracted my attention over the last couple of weeks for different reasons, but I think it's best if I start with the Raveneye book. This is a lore junkie's just haven. There's details in here that have surprised me about factions that I thought I'd actually studied and read in fair detail. I mean, with me picking up military orders as this season's faction for season 13, I have read a lot about them, just trying to get my head into it and doing a sectorial focus at some stage. And then I get to a couple of pages in of this, and I'm like, I did not know that. Like, where did that information even come from? Where has it been hiding all this time? And that's true of everything. They've got details not just about the sectorials and the factions, but individual units. And then they've got the story that's building in the background. It touches upon the Concilium Prima battle with the combined army attacking that. Obviously that was the start of N4. You may have remembered me doing a video that talks about the story progressing from N3 to N4. Then ITS Season 13 has built on that. This is then the next step and takes the timeline through a little bit further. If you don't know anything about the story of Raveneye, Raveneye is an orbital complex. It's a defensive military compound disguised as a communications relay station. The combined army have discovered that it's a spy station and are looking to attack it. Now, the units on board are not communication units. They are some of the best units that are available in the human sphere, and the battle is about to begin. Combined army need to take out this Raveneye complex in order to advance their general attack on Concilium Prima. That is I don't think there's any spoilers in there because then the story evolves and gets much further, but we've got all of our favourite factions in here. We've got military orders, we've got Cosmoflot, we've got Morats are obviously in here, and then we've got Corregidor, all feature here. So if you bought Crimson Stone, if you got the military orders faction pack, and if you bought this Morats pack, this is built around those factions. But once you get past the lore, which is excellent and is in its own right a reason to buy this book, but if you're not massively into the lore, if you like to dabble, but you're actually more into the missions and doing stuff, there are missions at the end of this, which even if you don't own those 4 factions, you can play those missions and still play into the Raveneye system and play those new missions and get into this a bit more. And if you do have those 4 factions, there's an extra little morsel on each of those missions just for you. And it's something that I said when I was reviewing ITS Season 13 that I wished Corvus Belli would do more of, is, increase the fluff on the Season 13 missions and, extra little layers to them. They have done everything I asked here. It's like a mini campaign. It's a little bit stepped. My only complaint is that it's not big enough. I want more of this. I need this. But you can, as I said, you can play those missions if you're not one of those 4 factions. But then if you are one of those 4 factions and you've got, Corregidor versus military orders, or, Morats versus Ariadne, there's a different mix-ups with each of those. Then you get different things, whether it's an extra unit that you don't pay SWC for, whether it's the Ravennai Officer that goes into your list for free, those sorts of things. That's what you get here. This is brilliant. If you're getting this, I don't think you're going to be disappointed at all. And no matter what the reason is that you're getting it, it's excellent. If you're one of those people that are like, I want to know more about the lore of Infinity, but I don't know where to begin, this is one of the best places for you to get an update of the story today. Now, if you didn't get the M4 rule books because everything's in PDF, that had a lore book that came with the print copy of the N4 rules. This is good. This is good. You really should consider getting this if you like the lore and you don't know where to get even more information. This is a prime example of the places you come. Now let's expand on that. Within Raveneye, there are Ravennai Officers. This dude, I wasn't sure about when I first saw the profile. I was like, it's kind of cool. It's all right, but I now really like it. There's 2 profiles available with Ravennai Officer, and it's available across a whole bunch of factions, even though he looks very O12y. That's because of the book and the lore, and that makes sense when you read this. But he's available across a whole bunch of other things. The Ravennai Officer, I think, is roughly 12 points, maybe 13, maybe 15. It's low teens. I'm more confident that it's 12 than 15, but not confident enough to stick to that. Two profiles, but they're both the same cost. One is Cyber Mines, the other is EM Mines. I haven't really used Cyber Mines or EM Mines a lot. Started to look into them. Wow, they're cool. And on a model that has got mine layer and is only like low teens, really worth looking at in your lists. Even if you're just trying to fill a spot, maybe give this one a second look. The sculpt is also really cool. It is very O12, which is obviously placed in my wheelhouse. O12 was my first faction, but yeah, worth a look if you haven't already. Then we get into, that's just going to slide, I'm not going to try and put that back. Then we get into the Moratsy stuff. One of the things I'm going to be open and honest about straight away, a load of empty boxes here, because I could not wait to open them and get stuck in. I was very excited about these because I don't love Combined Army, I'm not going to lie. I had Wildfire, I kept the Combined Army because I was like, oh, maybe that's my style. I don't know enough about the factions to know if that's where I'm going to gravitate towards. Then I started to see pictures of this box and I was like, Morats is a little bit different to Combined Army. There's bigger, chunkier stuff, and I love that. Military orders, knights, I'm loving that. This is filling that for me. But let's not get distracted by this because I've got a lot to say about that. Tirok Hunter, this is a sculpt that really excited me when some of the initial photos started coming out from Corvus Belli. It's a prime example of CB hitting it out of the park with their current generation of sculpts. Now, I'm probably going to come into some flack for saying that. A load of people are going to be like, oh, I don't like this, I don't like that. I disagree, like vehemently. More of their sculpts at the moment are hits than misses, and I don't even mean by a fraction. You see things like this, you're just going, this is beautiful. Like, it's got character, it's got some uniqueness to it, it's got a very active stance that portrays motion. Sorry, I'm going to stop nerding out about the sculpt work of this particular model, and I'm just going to focus on how I'm going to paint, because again, you see stuff that looks like that, and you go, yeah, that looks amazing, and then you realize, oh, but I've got to paint it, and it's not going to look that good. But again, brilliant. Then we've got the Diaphos Pack, which again, if you remember the Gencon exclusive, all of this would have come as one. If you haven't and you're looking to pick up some of these things individually, then yeah, you'll get one or two bits maybe, but I'm going to talk about them all because they're all worth talking about. This Diaphos Pack is pretty essential buying if you're a Combined Army player that dabbles in Shaz, is getting into Morats with this too, and needs to fill out some stuff. There's the HVT is the middle one. I love this one. I actually used it as a proxy for something that I was missing when I played my Morats. And then Anyat I actually used, and the Hashed I used as a proxy because that's a Shazvasti model. Again, these sculpts, I'm going to stop obsessing over sculpts, Thomas. People are not as interested as you are about the sculpts, okay? Right, so we're gonna move on from the Diaphos Pack, but again, really essential buying if you're into Combined Army, I think, and you're a collector and you need sculpts because these are all cool. Then we get to the meat and the potatoes of this video and the release. I know you're kind of cool too, but okay, so that's the meat, that's the potatoes of this release. Morats, again, I didn't love them when I first saw them. Not this time because the new release is very much what swung me towards them, but when I was looking at factions when I was first joining, I was looking at some of those older sculpts and just going, oh, I don't know, space monkeys, is that really my thing? I don't know if I love it. And then the releases for this started to come out and I just fell in love. The sculpts, and my love was reinforced when I started to get them out the packets, out of the blisters and started to assemble them. They're chunky models. I mean, and I'm coming from military orders where everything is a knight with armor and swords, and then you get to these guys and I'm picking it up and I'm like, this weighs like 50% more than anything I've held as a line infantry in Pan O. And they're big, they're powerful, they've got some presence, they've got some aggression, and then you get to the Kaitok, and that is a huge, chunky, heavy infantry. And even the Raziat, the drop-in trooper, again, dynamic, but big and bold. Again, fantastic. I think the only two models that I had issues with was actually the Anyat in the Diaphos box because it's on one leg, and so actually getting a glue point, getting it to stick was a little bit tricky. And then the Rack to Rack was a little bit fiddly just because some of the pipes didn't line up and I had to use a bit of green stuff, but everything else went together very well. Didn't require a whole bunch of issues, but a little bit of filler, a little bit of green stuff was all that was required. Then I got to play Morats, or list build first, and I was amazed at how easy it is to make a very deadly pure core of Morats. Now, using a couple of Morat Vanguard infantry, then I had the Kaitok in there, and I think I ended up with a Dartok? No, the Zerat was in there off the top of my head. Again, I'm trying to remember this, and I only played Morats once, and it's a very new faction to me, so that sectorial, so that's probably wrong. But that was a pure core, and the Kaitok has like MSV already. It's got hugely powerful weapons. It was a beast. Unfortunately, the person I was playing and myself, we played a rule wrong, and he worked very hard to try and get it into an isolated state using a hacker, because that was the only way he could really take it down, forgetting that almost everything in Morats has veteran, which means that they can't go into isolated states, and they would also not suffer loss of lieutenants, which I also went into loss of lieutenant as well. But again, not really used to veteran at this level. Like 1 or 2 units have it, but not pretty much the entire list. This thing is very powerful. I didn't play it very well because there were so many new things. I didn't know the synergy, but from what little I did see, I was very tempted to change my plans from running a faction that I know for a tournament I have coming up in 3 months. I almost ditched all my plans to try and speed paint this and get these on the table as quickly as possible so that I could run Morats, because they were so much fun. And I do love the models now. The Space Monkeys have grown on me quite significantly. These are probably, I don't want to say it, but Morats might be my next faction after Military Orders. Once this season's done and Military Orders I've run them competitively, I might be going to Morats. But then, I don't want to say that because Corvus Belli are launching so many cool things at the moment, and factions are getting, and then still Phalanx is coming, and Aleph and Hack. I'm not committing, but these guys are maybe one of my favourite units, factions, lists, sectorials that I have played. I really like this. I really like this. I wish I had more time to run more games so that I could run these and Military Orders and a little bit of O12, and now the Star Martyr's getting good. Everything is feeling good at the moment in Corvus Belli's world, and I love it. If you're getting all of this, you're in for an absolute treat. I don't think you'll regret a single thing. It's all beautiful. Thank you, Corvus Belli, for, not only sending this across, because you've blown my mind and now you've added to my pile of shame to the fact where I'm shaking because I don't know how I'm going to paint all of it, and I want to because these sculpts, and then they all need as much love as possible because the sculpts are so beautiful. I want to give them every bit of attention that I can, but I don't know how to focus on all of that and play at the same time, which I want to do because it's all beautiful. And read, and it's a good problem to have. I promise you, if this is the first video of mine you're watching, I can form coherent sentences, and I can structure a video where there's a beginning, a middle, and an end, and a point. I can't when this has all landed on my desk at the same time and I love it all. So like and subscribe if you're going to take a chance on me being more sensible in my next video, or never watch me again because you think that this is as mad as I am all the time. Thank you so much for watching if you have made it this far without going, what is he on? He needs to get away from the white metal and the super glue because he's clearly gone bonkers. If you've got any comments around the Ravennai book, the Morats pack, anything that you see here, please jump in and let me know your thoughts. If you're buying into Morats, have you looked at list building? What do you love? What units are you quite keen to try? What are you excited about with the Ravennai book if that is what you have bought into? Thank you so much for watching, and thank you for your patience, and I will be back soon making sense, I promise.